Honest J. Nowak. Coming at you live. Alright. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak. With the last few days that'll be coming up throughout 2021, I really ought to say, the end is surely a sight for sore eyes. Or maybe I could be way better with that, but that's not really the point here. Today, I have some more HJN subjects to cover. As such, we're going to get started. 973 moons. The majority of planets in the solar system are in fact large enough to allow other celestial bodies to move around them. These are called moons. These are typically uninhabitable, being that they're planets that typically do not have their own atmosphere, as they aren't necessarily large enough to harbor life by all means. And Venus, of course, is certainly not at all a planet that may have its own atmosphere, but yet it will not be able to harbor life by any means. Anybody who could touch down on there could probably get fried or even melted by the acids in the air. But when it comes to moons, these are in fact things that we have actually gone ahead and visited every now and then. If you remember our own moon, which is just simply called the moon, but has its own distinct name known as Luna, then you'd probably be familiar with the fact that NASA, for more than 50 years, has actually gone on ahead and made several different trips to the moon. And a lot more people have actually visited the moon, landed on the moon, and even spent some time getting to know about the many things about our own moon, in comparison to places on Earth, like the Mariana Trench. Pretty much nobody, other than maybe a couple of people who were very lucky to get all the way down to that depth of well over 7 miles, down to the very bottom of the Mariana Trench. Not at all many people down there have visited that place, in contrast to how many people have been up on the moon, which is of course quite a big surprise. We're able to go to space. We're able to go hundreds of thousands of miles away from our own Earth. Yet we can't necessarily go down 7 miles down from the surface above the trench itself all the way to the bottom. So, when you really think about it, that sort of ratio is a bit different than what you might normally expect. If we could accomplish so much back then, why can't we accomplish a lot today? Well, at this point in time, it's still a big mystery. And it probably will be remained as a mystery for a while. But hey, at least we have actually gone ahead and done what we did back then. Lots of trips made by NASA to the various moons and all that. But then it all comes down to the fact that there are moons and other planets, like Jupiter and Saturn, for example. Each of them have dozens of moons. And it's also important to note that Uranus literally has 27 of them. And that's 27 times more moons than Earth does possess. But then of course we can't forget about the fact that Pluto was recognized as a planet back then and has since been reinstated as a dwarf planet and therefore not an official planet in the solar system. But it did have one thing: 2 moons. Despite being a lot smaller in size compared to the majority of all the planets we got, Pluto did have 2 moons. As a result, that alone probably should have at least made it qualified as a planet. But since we don't see that happening today, it's hard to tell. Well, at this point, I guess we'll call it quits here, because all the talks about moons is quite a big story. Well, thank you very much, and if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.